This video was brought to you by NCIX. Great technology, selection, and service.
Alienware is one of those brands with a distinct design and attention to detail of various lighting effects that gains you sort of a new sense of connection between your machine and the game. And so today we're reviewing the Alienware 14, where portability meets power, with somewhat competitive pricing depending on configuration and an extremely solid design formula. Specs wise, we have a GTX 765M with 2GB of video RAM, and desktop equivalent would be the GTX 650 Ti. We have an i7 quad-core 4700MQ at 2.4 base clock with a 3.4 GHz in turbo mode, 16GB of memory, dual drive setup, so a 256GB mSATA SSD combined with a 750GB mechanical drive. And this configuration will set you back just shy over $2,000 when fully decked out, and that might turn off many people based on competitive gaming offerings from ASUS and MSI lately. I find the outer shell aesthetically pleasing with accented illuminated strips and that staple alien head, and I also can appreciate the direction to not include any brushed aluminum, instead robust plastic that can be wiped down no problem. The machine is just over 6 pounds in weight with a thick body, but of course manageable for travel bags and backpacks. On the left side we find a Kensington locked slot. Happy to see a mini DisplayPort for high resolution monitors, full-size HDMI 1.4, 2 USB 3 ports and audio jacks, and notice how everything is well spaced out to accommodate for all the connections. On the opposite side we get an Ethernet port, another USB 3.0, SD card slot and an optical drive. The power plug is located at the back, that's illuminated when plugged in for that extra effect, and back-facing exhaust, so exactly where it should be. The screen lid opens wide with confident resistance, and while there is some flex on the panel, it still feels well put together and not like something's about to snap. A 1080p webcam along with stereo microphones is included at the top, plus the illuminated Alienware text with pretty thin bezels on the sides and slightly more conservative at the bottom. Now, Alienware 14 by the name, of course, houses a 14-inch IPS anti-glare display with 1920 by 1080p resolution that looks excellent with high pixel density and outstanding viewing angles. And next to my TN panel notebook, the TN panel looks pathetic. Colors are much more natural and accurate on the Alienware. Plus, the lack of contrast shifting is really a huge bonus for anybody who is into creative fields or requires any visual work. And also notice the lack of green on the TN panel that I wouldn't have noticed otherwise. There's just some brightness variance at extreme angles, and I don't think it's bright enough at full power, and the screen kind of got lost while outdoors. On the opposite side, in complete darkness, while at the lowest setting it was way too bright, so I would really appreciate if a few extra brightness levels were added. Internals are fully covered in a rubberized finish that's really nice to the touch and to the most part stays cool and clean, although it does leave handling marks. The speaker grill is located right below the screen with a really loud and detailed stereo projection, although lacking heavily in the lower end region. There's practically no bass in this thing. So let's take a listen.
Showtime!
The power button is on the right side, complemented by its own illumination that can be set up to indicate battery life, and on the other side we get LED indicators for Wi-Fi, caps lock and drive activity. Alienware really should be praised for designing such an outstanding keyboard that's fully embedded into the body with respectable travel distance, absolutely no flex, and large keys. We get a few function shortcuts inside the F keys, along with the brightness and media control in the arrow keys. Due to size limitations, the side numpad is missing, but overall, both typing and gaming on this set of keys was extremely satisfying. The illumination here just speaks through the characters with a 4-zone color control that can be adjusted through the software, and the trackpad is also well placed right in the center away from your left hand. Tracking is pleasing with physical left and right clicks that also have a satisfying response, and also love the illumination that's consistent and of course multicolored. Plus, the illumination strips running on each side curve nicely around the front corners and adds to that distinct Alienware look, and of course plays a role in alien effects. The notebook stands on tall rubber feet, and notice the large intake ports, and when it comes to user upgrades, Alienware has always been excellent, allowing you to access your 2 memory slots, replace the mSATA drive, and underneath the optical drive is another 2.5-inch drive slot, all easily accessible and upgradable. So now, how does it handle cooling? And playing Watch Dogs for an hour, despite only having one exhaust at the rear, the body actually stays cool, and notice how the left portion doesn't heat up, allowing your left hand to maintain sweat-free. Nothing is exhausted through the sides, and all of the hot air is blown away from the user. Plus, it helps to direct some of that noise away as the fan ramps up to obviously audible levels. Alright, so with everything covered, let's get to the benchmarks. The GTX 765M is somewhat capable, but don't forget about NVIDIA GeForce Experience to optimize your in-game settings for best playable results. Of course, I would really love to see NVIDIA's 800M series graphics in this machine. CRYSIS 3 is very demanding at high settings, is basically unplayable. Witcher 2 at high is playable, plus it's one of the games that supports alien effects. Battlefield 4 at ultra is sluggish. WOLFENSTEIN New Order maxed out is not a problem, and Watch Dogs at high settings was actually playable. And for relative comparison, 3D Mark FIRESTRIKE benchmark scored over 2000, although these results are below the average gaming notebook, so it seems. And quickly optimizing the games, and we are back in business with playable frame rates, so you can sort of squeeze out the best results out of this machine. So the integration of alien effects is sort of your cherry on top that changes the lighting zones based on the in-game atmosphere. But of course, the supported game list is still very small, plus the API is not reliable in my experience, and to the most part, I did actually disable it. The 14-inch form factor has been real nice adjustment for mobile use, although disappointing battery life with a 69 watt-hour battery with just under 3 hours of casual use in balanced mode. Gaming on battery lasted a surprising 65 minutes, although the GPU is underclocked to 600 MHz to keep up within power limitations, so do expect a major hit on performance. Plus, the CPU clocks were isolating, resulting in choppy gameplay that was really unpleasant. And so the Alienware 14 has got to be almost a perfect compromise between size, performance, and the price, with an absolutely amazing IPS display, clean and loud stereo speakers with excellent keyboard and trackpad. Lighting customization is pretty neat, plus the notebook body stays cool when under load. And I'm sure we can all appreciate the user-friendly upgrade design for RAM and the 2 drive slots. However, very limiting battery life, unstable gaming performance while on battery, still disappointing list of games for alien effects, and really my major complaint here would be the lagging hardware. NVIDIA's latest 800M series graphics is just so much more appropriate and suitable for 2014 for better performance, power efficiency, and of course temperatures. And I do hope these roll out soon, as otherwise there's no point in investing in aging hardware, regardless of the truly enjoyable ownership you do get with an Alienware. But what do you guys think of this design, and what are some of the advantages you can think competing gaming notebooks have that might gravitate you away from the Alienware line? Leave your comments down below, would love to hear what you think, and if you're interested in the bigger brother, the Alienware 17, make sure to check out our review, along with the MSI G70 featuring Maxwell 800 series cards from NVIDIA. As always, thanks for watching, make sure you subscribe for more similar content down the line, and we'll see you in the next one.